When Coach Dan Lengieza retired a few years ago, he left behind a legacy that will be hard to top. Some of the Holyoke Catholic cross-country and track athletes he coached decided that something needed to be done to honor his career and years of dedicated service to both Holyoke Catholic and Pope Francis high schools. Steve KILTONIC has the story now of Coach Rudy.
In the world of professional sports, there are a select group of coaches who, over the years, have become legends. Some are known for the number of championships won or for the outstanding athletes who played on their teams. But it's rare to find such coaches among the high school ranks. One former coach who has quietly earned the legendary distinction is Dan Lengieza, affectionately known as Rudy. Few state coaches can match Lengieza in longevity. He coached the Holyoke Catholic and Pope Francis cross-country and track teams for 52 years, winning 4 Western Mass titles in cross-country and 3 in track. But beyond the trophies, Lengieza is known for the dedication, sacrifice, and lasting impact he left on his athletes. Lengieza attended the former St. Jerome High in Holyoke, where he was on the track team as a miler and high jumper. After graduating in 1959, Lengieza joined the Marine Corps, where he ran track and cross-country. In 1964, Lengieza received his first coaching assignment here at the then brand new Holyoke Catholic High School. As an assistant to Ed Garrity, he coached primarily the track team's long-distance runners, but it was in the Marines where he developed his coaching style and philosophy that would define his team for 5 decades.
Primarily to treat them like young adults and not demand things from them all the time. Let them set their own goals, and because in the military they tell you when to eat, sleep, and do. It's very restricted. You don't really always have a mind of your own. So I learned a lot in the military, getting self-discipline to do certain things.
Lengieza knew right away that coaching high school was his destiny.
I just really enjoyed working with high school kids because they were sort of like the raw deal. In other words, they really had no preconceived conditions or anything like that.
To Lengieza, it didn't matter if you finished first or last. He treated everyone equally.
I get the most enjoyment out of the kids I see when they're freshmen running 7-8 minutes in a mile. And then by the time they're seniors, they're running 5 minutes in a mile. And that's a big improvement.
Lengieza started the boys' cross-country team in 1969, and it didn't take long before the Gales made their mark among the elite in Western Massachusetts. Lengieza's legendary chalk talks at Holyoke's Whiting Reservoir, the Gales' 2.7-mile home course, became an invaluable blueprint for meets.
We would sit down before the meets and we would go over what the opposing runners were running and what the time gap was in between the runners. And you have to do this, you have to come in second at least, and you have to come in 5th and 6th. And then I would point out the score, and most of the time the scores were right on what I predicted. So there's a lot of tactics involved in coaching, and if the kids know what the competition looks like, they run a lot better for you.
One of the runners who achieved notoriety during Lengieza's early years was Rob Griffin. Last March, Griffin and former Catholic cross-country and track athletes attended a fundraiser for Coach Rudy at the warehouse in Holyoke. Here, Gale pride was on display, along with the numerous banners showcasing the titles won by Lengieza's teams. While he's shown in the classroom, Griffin said he wasn't much of an athlete until Lengieza spotted something special in him.
Actually, it was the coach who discovered that I could hurdle. He literally took me out in the backyard of the school and set up some hurdles and just told me to run and jump over them. And so that's what I did.
Under Lengieza's guidance, Griffin became a top hurdler in Western Mass, going undefeated indoors and outdoors for nearly 4 years. In 1973, he claimed a state title in the 120-yard high hurdles.
What he proved to me is that you can be small and still be great. And that might be his legacy. He could pull talent out of a rock.
As a result of his track prowess, Rob received a full scholarship to Brandeis University.
He's a man that is filled with gratitude, and I think that was one of the most important things that I learned from him, is to be grateful for whatever it is you got that day, and hope for more the next.
Don Pronovo ran cross-country as well as indoor and outdoor track for Lengieza. He competed on cross-country teams in the 1970s that won the Western Mass title 3 straight times.
He was just so easygoing and understanding to each athlete, whether he had a problem or whatever. He just knew how to adjust and take care of the person, and was just, like a father figure. Yet his coaching skills brought out the best in every athlete.
Besides the winning, it was just plain fun to be on Rudy's team.
It was one big family, and the Mrs. Lengieza, she would have dinners over her house, before the big meets, after the big meets, whether we won or lost.
Don said Lengieza was given the nickname Rudy from an old comic book character, Rudy Kazudi, who, like Lengieza, wore a cap off to the side. Stu Lemke was a hurdler, a high jumper, and long jumper. In 1982, his senior year, Catholic won a Western Mass track title.
He was the type of person that instilled in us a confidence that we had done the workouts we needed to do to win this meet, and that we just had to execute. And so that carried on for a lot of us in later life.
And if you didn't perform up to expectations, Coach Rudy never yelled.
You always got a squeeze on the shoulder just saying, there's a game next week, there's a meet next week, you're going to get better, don't give up.
Jake Lukasiewicz, who ran cross-country and track, was a Western Mass indoor champ. His team won Western Mass and state titles in 1999.
He had strong values and dedication to the team. He made sure to teach us lessons we needed to know, but he gave every runner time. He treated people as though they mattered.
Jake went on to run track and cross-country at Assumption College, where he was captain for 2 years. After college, Jake served as Rudy's assistant coach. In 1978, Lengieza helped establish a girls' cross-country team. Maureen Lemke, Stu's wife, ran on one of those early teams. In practice, Rudy had the girls run with the boys.
There was no split between the girls and the boys. There was no tension. There was no intimidation, no nothing. We were all in this together, and if you ran and you could keep up, more power, with more power to you. We were all friends, and there was a lot of kidding around, but a lot of mutual respect and kindness and camaraderie.
Lemke was one of Rudy's top female runners and held a course record at Whiting Reservoir for 20 years. Maureen, who was also on the track team, said Rudy's quiet leadership inspired everyone to work harder. But it was how Rudy handled the occasional loss that has stuck with her.
The single characteristic that I attribute to him is humility. That even though he had a long history of having great runners, he knew you could have a bad day. He knew your team could lose.
Maureen went on to a successful career at the University of Vermont, where she ran cross-country and was captain her senior year. Lemke said that through running, Coach Rudy set the trajectory for her entire life.
I just want to express my gratitude for the role that Rudy's played in my life personally, in just giving me the gift of his time and character, and giving me a lot of really good values that I've carried along the way.
Lengieza retired in 2016. In 2017, a committee was formed, led by Pronovo and Stu Lemke, to explore an appropriate way to commemorate Rudy's coaching career and legacy. On June 30th, a granite plaque was dedicated to Lengieza at the foot of Whiting Reservoir, where so many of his teams achieved greatness over half a century. Runners from 5 decades showed up on a hot summer day to pay tribute to the man who gave so much to so many. Coach Rudy's family, including his wife Yvonne and 2 daughters, attended the ceremony. Some of the former Harriers reenacted the glory days with a fun run around the reservoir, while Rudy walked, or rather rode, down memory lane by circling the course the easy way. In 2008, Lengieza was inducted by his peers into the Massachusetts State Track Coaches Association Hall of Fame, and in 2011 into the Holyoke Catholic High School Athletic Hall of Fame. But of all his lifetime achievements, the plaque stands tallest.
I'm very humbled by that monument they put up there. I'm really totally surprised about what they are able to accomplish. So, I mean, that probably makes me more proud is what I accomplished than anything else.
When asked how he would like to be remembered, Coach Rudy responded,
Probably the fact that I was there for them no matter what happened.
the plaque stands as a testament to the man who founded the legacy of Holyoke Catholic cross country. It lives on in a new generation of Pope Francis runners who are entrusted to continue the proud Gael tradition Rudy established at Whiting Reservoir. For Reel to Reel, I'm Steve KILTONIC.
The Whiting Reservoir continues to be used by the Pope Francis High School cross-country teams. The granite monument sits at the base of the reservoir near the finish line and stands as a constant reminder of the lasting impact Coach Rudy has had on his athletes.